Now for the track guide. Guys, before starting, I have released a specific car course for the Porsche Cup, so if you want to get better with this car, to know the secrets and subtleties on how you can get quicker, just go ahead and check out my website, link will be in the video description. Going into the track guide itself, turn 1, you really have to use all the track. What I mean by this is, first of all, reference for braking will be before the number 4. You want to brake nice and early, you don't want to brake late and hard, so notice that our peak pressure goes around 60%. This is important. You don't want to overheat the tires on entry so that you will have lower grip mid-corner, but because this will be a long corner, you have 2 apexes. So if you overheat from the get-go, you'll have such a harder time. So don't brake as late as you can, even though you can get away with later and harder. Brake a bit earlier and softer, 60% pressure, and then make sure you're using all the track like this. This is not an off track, so make sure you're going diagonally into this braking zone. Let me show you one more time. You see, we're going from this diagonal entry, braking before number 4, and now pushing the car like this and then straightening it up. So this will give you more speed on entry because you increase the radius of the corner, which is super important around here. Now you're gonna stay on the brakes quite a lot of time here because look, we're going to this curb. You have to get very close to the red sausage curb in second gear, and now look on the brake. Still trail braking, still braking, still braking, still braking. And because you're braking in this lower range, you can use the steering wheel more because your budget for grip will go now into both steering and braking. So you have to be softer on the brakes if you're going to use the steering this much. So make sure you're using the steering wheel because there's a lot of radius that we need to cover, but don't drop the brake completely. You have to keep the brakes into these lower percentages like 15 to 25% so that you won't overload the tires, but at the same time you're still getting the rotation. So still on the brakes, still on the brakes, still on the brakes, still on the brakes, and now we're getting back on gas. Like a good reference for getting back on throttle, whenever you can barely see this blue curve around here, you can smash the throttle. You probably will have a good launch, and make sure you're getting close to this red anti-curb. So you keep a tight line. Your throttle application should be very direct like it is right now, you see, not a lot of corrections. And now bring the car to the left side. Reference for braking here will be number 2. At number 2 you're going to be applying the brakes and you want to trail brake up until you get close to the red sausage curb. So look, up until here we were on the brakes, and when you get closer to the red, then you're gonna smash the throttle like this in third gear. Next corner, all you have to know is that for this corner you have to brake softer than in the previous one. So this corner is not as severe like the previous one in terms of radius, so because of this, reference for braking will be in the middle of number 1 and number 2, but look at the percentage of braking, 12%, 11, 2%, 7, and then we're a lot earlier on throttle. In the previous corner we're on the throttle near the red sausage curb. Now we have to be earlier because this corner is not that acute, and also there's a bigger straight, so it's more important to be early on the throttle like this. And you can get away with putting a bit of your tire on the gravel right here and it won't be an off track. And it also won't slow you down. So make sure you're exploiting all the track, even brushing a bit of the gravel like this. Now for the next corner, what's the particularity of this corner is that the trail braking is happening once again quite a long time. This is a longer corner than you think. When you see it from this angle, it doesn't seem this big, but if you're looking from here, you can also see this red curve. It's not so visible from this point, but this is a long corner. Because it's a long corner, you have to stay more on the brakes. The only thing you should be reminding yourself here is to just hold the brakes. Hold the brakes, don't drop them. Hold them up until you get to the red sausage curb. Reference for braking will be number 3 before this white line. You're gonna brake by using this curb, so make sure you're putting the car all the way to the gravel on the right side. You're gonna brake in a straight line first, but now in third gear, you're just gonna drag the brakes up until you get to this red curve. So dragging the brakes, trail braking, trail braking, trail braking, still on the brakes, 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 and now go on throttle. You see, it's very late. The moment that you go on throttle, it's very late, and it's super important to stay on the brakes because you need that rotation to happen. Now we're gonna go and use all the track, and for the next corner, the high speed one, first of all use all the track. Before number 2, gonna be applying the brakes. You will stay in 4th gear, and just with the trail brake alone, you will try to get this close to the red sausage curve. So don't downshift, the downshift will mess up the balance. Stay in 4th gear, make sure you're getting close, and the moment that you touch it, you should be pushing the throttle. This will give the rear some more grip, and also you're gonna gain you time on corner exit. You don't want to brake very hard, so notice here in the brake shape, you don't brake that hard, but at the same time, you're gonna still be holding the brakes up until you get the curb. Now for the next corner here, reference for braking will be before this white line, so you have to brake quite early here, and you have to notice this elevation change. You're going from uphill to downhill. On this uphill part you have more grip, so you can brake harder. So you see you're going to 54, but when you're going to the downhill part, the grip levels are changing and you will have less grip. Because of this, you have to drop the pressure, so you brake hard, then soft. You see, and then hard again, because there's a bit of time where you can get most. When the track is almost leveled, you can get a bit more braking, but then again it goes lower, so you have to drop the brakes once again. So you see, because of this dynamic, this corner has to be approached with the right mindset, and knowing ahead of time what to do. Brake nice and early initially, you can brake a bit harder, then relax the brakes and make sure you're not drifting far away from the curb on the right side. Open up this corner and turn late into the corner like this. Hit this gravel around here, it's gonna be fine in 2nd gear, and for this corner immediately you should think about quick hands, because you don't want to go like a snake in this corner, you want to just go almost in a straight line. Because of this, we have to use quick hands to get all the way here. And now for the next one, you're not gonna bring the car all the way to the right side, you will miss your turning point. So when you are in the center right, you will start turning into this corner. Your goal here will be to bring the car very closely with the trail brake to this red sausage curve. When you get there, you should also downshift from 4th to 3rd. You will push the throttle quite aggressively, don't go more than this. I know it's tempting to brush this gravel on the right side, but because the next corner is very close, you won't have enough time to reposition. So don't go all the way to gravel, just barely brush this curve. So you will have time to arrive here, because you see the braking happens before number 2. So you will completely miss the entry into this corner if you just push too much in the previous one. With this in mind, relax a bit in the previous corner so you can get a better getaway out of this, because this leads to a bigger straight than the previous corner led to, so that's important. For this corner in 3rd gear, a long trail braking once again, but in the softer percentages, because you're going downhill into this right-hander, the grip levels will be very low. If you brake too hard, the car will understeer, so it's counterintuitive, but more braking won't help here. More braking will just lose grip. So braking softer percentages, when you get close to this red anti-curve, push the throttle like this in 3rd gear. Here you can use everything. You can even use a bit of gravel because you have enough time to reposition. You'll go very quickly to reposition because braking point will be quite close to number 2. You will use this part of the curb, it's gonna be fine on the right side. And in 2nd gear, what's important here, what's really important, is to trail brake a lot and almost go completely cutting the red sausage curb. You won't get an off track and also it will be much faster because you're shortening the distance. When you are at the red sausage curb, you're gonna push the throttle like this. You should be expecting to arrive here all the way to the gravel. And in short, that's gonna be the lap. So I hope you have a great week around here. The track is very treacherous, it's not an easy track, and you really have to be careful about avoiding mistakes, because once you go into gravel, you'll just lose a lot of lap time. So once again, good luck this week. If you want to improve at a quicker pace, you can check my full sim racing course for racing technique, or you can check the specific Porsche Cup course for this car. And looking forward to see you in the next one. Bye bye.